everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, here today to talk to you about Pilgrims on the Path of No Return from the UK-based project Thy Listless Heart. This one is coming off of Hammerheart Records. And Thy Listless Heart plays a particularly emotive and quite, I would say, theatrical approach to doom metal. The somberness and the very heartfelt performances are really put on full display on this record. Thy Listless Heart is a one-person project, everything being credited to Simon Bibby. And Bibby is a bit of a veteran in the metal scene, being part of a couple long-standing projects such as My Silent Wake and Seventh Angel. On As the Light Fades, things get started with these dense, glacial guitars and these melancholic melodies really give this thing a sense of expanse and atmosphere right out the gate. Bibby's clean vocals are awe-inspiring here with such conviction in the delivery. You get some quieter, clean passages that really nest Bibby's vocals so well. It does it so comfortably and pretty cozy. I listened to this the other day in a cafe, sipping on a bottomless cup of coffee, and it really set the tone. And you should do the same too. This album goes really well with a nice hot beverage, maybe a cup of tea. There's such a brilliant sense of sorrow permeating through this track. And when the crushing guitars meet Bibby's vocals, it creates such a huge, gigantic feel and sense of dread without the need to really force it. It feels and comes across very naturally. Also incorporated are towards the end of the track, some kind of faintly recorded death growls that play complement to the clean vocals. It gives a nice effect and sense of layering and dynamics. The precipice, you get these dark, brooding strings and some eerie piano, some like mythical acoustic flourishes, and a lovely vocal performance again from Bibby. It gives this track a real demanding start. I love the very gothic and morose choral vocals that play a part in this song. There's a real moving and lyrical guitar solo on this. It's played rather slowly, but you feel every note. It's like the guitars are singing to you. Some of the lyrical moments on this track too really stand out to me. Let me help you carry this weight of suffering. And the earnestness in how Bibby sings this, it just gives me goosebumps. It's really intense and just full of emotion. Yearning has this engulfing spaciousness to it. Some strings and some very minimalist piano play a role. And you get a very cinematic, sort of whispered vocal here that has a bit of a darker sneer to it. Kind of a nice change up in tone and delivery from the rest of the album. And this all kind of foreshadows a big moment where some of the instruments kind of cut out for a moment, and then you are just hit with a gigantic, massive doom riff. The title of this track really informs you of what this track is going to feel like. It's yearning. I love the winding, really somber guitar leads that float around on this cut. And Bibby just sings the shit out of this song. You just can't ignore some of the massive moments that are carried by the vocals here. There's just so much passion. It's really spine tingling at a couple key points on this track. When the spirit departs the body is more of a moody acoustic piece, and it definitely works in context of where it sits in the record. Kind of gives the album a real thematic bridge here. You get some really sweet, gorgeous strums and arpeggios, a gentle, longing vocal delivery here with a lot of care and deep felt emotion. Again, it's a lot of emotion in this record. Some subtle percussion too helps drive home the grandness of this particular piece. Confessions is probably the heaviest cut on the record, with some muscular, chunky doom riffs that pack quite a punch. And at the same time, it's probably at times the sparsest, most desolate piece on the record. And the hollowness here can be really captivating. It just sucks you into its crevices. There's some really ominous choral parts and some ferocious growled vocals towards the back end of this track. It's kind of these moments that you're being led to and carried to kind of a climactic point, if you would. Eighth Neon, I believe, it's another cool kind of bridge track. You get these folksy guitars and woodwinds. It has kind of a renaissance-y feel to it. Bibby also brings in another vocalist to duet, and it's pretty lovely. There's this kind of effect where there's this overlapping call and response between the two singers. It's pretty pleasing to follow along the kind of the multi-direction melodic phrasing. You can kind of hear the track differently every time, depending on where your ear goes. The Search for Meaning is a really explorative, epic, and kind of grand finale to this. It clocks in at 14 minutes, almost half the album's runtime. It's definitely a really ambitious piece of music that Bibby puts forth here. It gradually builds, starting with some real minimalist guitars and drums that slowly build in their power and intensity. When the metal elements really take full force, the guitars are meaty and heavy and just oozing with despair. And it just ends the album in such a commanding way, and actually towards the end it gets so intense and the death growls take full precedence. It kind of takes on a death doom note towards the end. It's really cool and fitting. This is a incredibly moving and powerful and memorable, deeply sorrowful doom metal record. It's crushing and it's beautiful at the same time. The vocal performances here are top notch. They're just incredible. Like a real selling point for this album, just full of passion and emotion and sincere, deeply felt feeling. Deeply felt feeling. I don't know where I was going with that, but we're gonna go with it. It's there's just a diversity here too. It's not just a one note doom metal record. There's a lot of sense of dynamics, and it incorporates the heavy passages and the quieter, calming sections really well, and knows how to play with both strategically. This album feels like a journey. Every track serves a purpose and is taking you somewhere, and there's the highs and lows in emotion and sense of belonging in where it sits on the track listing. I love this record. I love this record. I enjoyed the ever-living shit out of this record. And it's not being talked about enough, and I don't know why. If you're a Doom fan, it is a mandatory listen. I can't praise it enough. This is a shoo-in for my album of the year list. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button. It would mean a lot. If you enjoy what I do and want to be informed of when my next review hits, please subscribe. It would mean so much to me and really help this channel grow and reach more people. If you listen to this album or have any feedback or just want to leave any notes for me, I love reading those. Please feel free. I have a Twitter you can follow. Link to that is in the bio of this YouTube channel. Keep it metal. My name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh. Signing off.